Hey everyone, this is the dispatch for Tuesday, April 7th. It's the Tuesday of Holy Week, and because it's Holy Week, we have 4 readings instead of 3, as we did yesterday. The first reading is from Isaiah 49, verses 1 through 7. This is from a portion of Isaiah that's usually called 2nd Isaiah. You may not know this, but the prophet Isaiah, the book of the Bible, is actually composed by 3 different writers, 3 different Isaiahs, you might say, and this passage comes from 2nd Isaiah. 2nd Isaiah is from chapters 40 to 54, and this particular part of the book is focused on Israel's experience during exile, and so 2nd Isaiah is very much a comforter. The very beginning of 2nd Isaiah, chapter 40, begins with, "Comfort, O comfort my people." This prophet is trying to console Israel during the hardships of exile and trying to reassure them of God's continued presence and God's continued care for them. It's throughout 2nd Isaiah that God is referred to as the Holy One of Israel, a name that indicates God's commitment to the people of Israel, even though they're living in Babylon and they've lost their home, that God's commitment to them as a nation, as a people, is steadfast. So that's a little bit of background for this. And the passage itself is talking about the restoration of Israel. And it says, Israel will be a light to the nations so that God's salvation may reach to the end of the earth. Our psalm is Psalm 71, verses 1 through 14. This is another psalm of praise in the midst of hardship, as so many psalms are. A New Testament passage is 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 18 through 31. This is one of my favorite passages in all of Scripture. Paul is talking about the wisdom of, or the foolishness of God. The foolishness of God is wiser than human wisdom. The weakness of God is stronger than human strength. And in a brilliant phrase, he says, God has chosen the things that are not to reduce to nothing the things that are. And this is a great phrase in the Greek. Things that are not sort of captures it, but a good way to look at it would be the nothings. God has chosen the nothings to reduce to nothing those that are something, those that think they're something, or those that the world thinks are something. It's a complete reversal of wisdom and strength and power, and Paul is arguing that God, because of the cross, has undermined all of that. Paul says we preach Christ crucified. A Messiah who dies an ignominious death on a cross is the way that God has chosen to work. And it looks like foolishness to the Greeks, and it's a stumbling block to Jews, but it is the wisdom and the power of God. It's a brilliant, brilliant passage. Keep reading into chapter 2 because it keeps going. But anyways, I could go on for a long time about that one. It's my favorite. And then John chapter 12, verses 20 through 36. In my very first experience preaching, when I was in seminary, I was an intern at a church in Hamilton Square, New Jersey, and I got up to preach my very first sermon, and I stand in the pulpit, and there on the pulpit is this little metal plaque, and on it are embossed the words, "Sir, we would see Jesus." And the NRSV translates that phrase in our passage, "Sir, we wish to see Jesus." A great little prayer or plea, a command or a charge to the preacher to show Jesus to the people, but a wonderful little bit of that passage. But that's not at all what this passage is about. This passage is more about Jesus articulating his purpose and his intentions, where he's going. He knows that he's going to the cross. What's really interesting in terms of how John portrays Jesus and the way that it differs from Matthew, Mark, and Luke is that you'll remember the scenes in Gethsemane where Jesus is praying and he's sweating blood and he says, "Father, take this cup from me, but not my will, your will be done." In John's Gospel, Jesus says, "What am I supposed to say? Father, I don't want to do this? No, this is what I came to do." Jesus' attitude is very different in John's Gospel as he anticipates the coming suffering and glory that would come as a result of what he is doing. So those are the readings for today. Dig into these. These are rich readings. There's a lot here. It's an important week for us, as you know. Speaking of which, Thursday is Maundy Thursday. That's the night that we remember Jesus' last meal with his disciples. At 7:30 this Thursday evening, I will give a live sermon or meditation to mark Maundy Thursday. And then at 1 o'clock on Friday, Good Friday, I will post a series of readings done by some members of our congregation, sort of in the mode of a Tenebrae service, as we have usually done on Maundy Thursday. That will come on Friday, so watch for that as well. That's it for today. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.